Before the term overlanding even existed, adventurers didn't ask permission. They didn't follow leaders, and they didn't even pay to be there. But now, that's basically the model in a lot of cases. So let's ask the question, are overland clubs killing overlanding? This is the Camo Convoy Podcast, where we talk all things overland, off-road, and the great outdoors. So tonight's episode, we're talking clubs. Now, before we talk about the actual club, why don't we go into the core values of what we believe overlanding is? So, in your words, Aaron, we'll talk a little bit about what do you think the spirit of overlanding is?
You have to have the ability to want to explore and adapt and have a respect for land and like this self-reliance ability to get through the unknown outcomes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, the first thing that comes to my mind always is like the camel trophy, like genuinely
Yeah.
not knowing what in the world you're about to get into, knowing that you're going to go see something, do something, and you're going to get there. Unfortunately, in today's world, it's kind of hard to do that because a lot of stuff is developed and we're not in Africa.
Right.
For better or worse, I guess. But I think like the little self-check that I like to do, and this affects Camo all the time too, is if your trip would still work perfectly without problem solving, it's probably not overlanding, right? It's probably car camping, or it's probably like just a wheeling trip, which are
you just got lucky.
Both completely fine in their own way. But when we talk overlanding, true overlanding, I think that the expedition discovery style adventure, true adventure, is really, really what's important. And having that element of self-reliance over a social scene, I think, is important too. I kind of shit talk it a lot, like the cars and coffee clubs, right? That's totally cool. And if you like that, that's fine. It's just, I know you guys aren't exploring, and that's okay.
I like the cars and coffees event, but I like them as a stepping stone. I don't think it should be the core part of an overlanding club.
Yeah.
Like y'all want to get together at a brewery and get beers every now and then. Like, why not? Sure,
It's friends.
It's friends, and like you get out and there's one in Frederick, or used to be one in Frederick, where they go to the Krispy Kremes in the morning on Sundays, and it's like that's cool. You get together with people that like you never meet any other time, and you support a local place, grab some donuts, whatever, and move on with your life within a couple hours, and I don't think there's anything bad with that, but it's there's a lot of people in those cars and coffee that have mint rigs, not a scratch on them, very well built. I've seen some rigs, man, that are like brand new $50,000 rig with another 70 grand worth of shit thrown onto it, and they don't even know to air down. They've spent a pile of money and just hang out the cars and coffee and bench race. There's so much more to it.
Yeah. And again, like if that's your hobby and you like talking about it, that's cool. It's just not overland. And
it's not overland.
Another pillar of the spirit of overland is I personally think that the exploration and the route that you experience is equal or more important than just the destination, because most of the time you can get to the destination in a lot easier way than the roundabout overland. But when you're getting there the backcountry way, that's where the adventure, the problem solving comes in. And think about how many times we've been out and those unknowns are what we talk about. Like, we could have gone and traveled to the most amazing vista, and that was cool. We might talk about that. But the stories we talk about are when so-and-so dipped off of the shelf road that we didn't know was there, and we had to spend an afternoon winching them back up the hill. Now, some people are like, well, that's not fun. I don't want to fall off of a hill. Well, no one's died on a trip yet. Calm down.
I personally like air horning dogs in the middle of the road in Kentucky. That gets talked about a lot.
Listen, some of those dogs you have to, you're gonna get eaten.
You have to, yes.
Like that was a damn what do they call it thing? Chupacabra. That wasn't
Chupacabras.
that wasn't Fido. That thing was vicious. So if I was gonna give an overarching theme, I think that overlanding is supposed to feel uncertain, and some clubs can remove that feeling of uncertainty. And some people might be after that, but I think if you really want that true experience, I think the level of uncertainty remaining is important. And I'm sure anyone that's in camo and has been on a trip right now is like, "Oh yeah, Nick, we know." But so why do people even make a club? Why do these things exist?
uh, they want the community. Like, it's cool doing this by yourself, but at some point you're like, man, I really just want to do this with other people too. You know, the more the merrier. I think that's a big one because it's like I, I, the only time I get to talk this type of stuff is on Fridays at 10 o'clock when you and I sit down and do the podcast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, and the Discord that we talk nonstop all the time on. But like
Right.
outside of that, I don't really talk to a lot of people that are into it like we are. Like, I, we're not having conversations about lockers with our wives
No.
for the most part.
No. And if we do, it's like, why is there a charge from someone named Eaton for $937?
Yes. Just that you got a deal. Like $1,400. She should be happy.
Yeah, it's so for me, it's funny. I go to war with myself over this one a lot because I really like solo travel. Like I know that I never shut the hell up, right? But I actually really enjoy being by myself a lot. I've just always been comfortable that way. However, the community side of it is really, really fun. And I think what we've been able to curate is so unique in the sense that like everyone has the same goal and vibe about them and they like the same stuff, and this isn't just like 5 people, this is like 50 regulars, and a
Yeah.
whole bunch of other people that are involved in some other capacities. And man, that makes it, for me, that makes it really, really fun. And when you see people who like really latch on and identify with the club, it's like, man, that's cool. That is community to me, and
Yeah.
that feels awesome.
Yeah, I like that when we get new people, they dive in, they're buying all the shirts and stuff, they're showing up at every single event. Like, they show up one time and they're like, "We're home, we found our people, you know, we brought our
Yeah.
brought our tires with Kevlar, we're good, we're here."
I like my favorite comments that I get are like, "Oh yeah, how long have you guys must have grown up together?" And it's like, "Oh, that guy, I met him yesterday."
Yeah, yeah,
It just it works out like that. And I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe we're the riffraff and just the rats hang
weird.
out together. I don't know. But it works, man.
It
Um,
does.
but the community isn't the only reason that people are looking for a club. A lot of people are looking for direction and ultimately safety. If you didn't grow up where off-roading or camping or exploring was something that you were ever exposed to, but you want to take your brand new truck out into the woods, you probably don't want to do that by yourself for the first time. So you probably do want to look for a club or an organization or even a guide to make sure that you don't go out there and die or break your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, this club in particular has a lot of really good people with a lot of experience that I feel like don't gatekeep and really embrace helping the new people. And that's invaluable to those people. And it's like, that's something that if you're new, I don't care what club you go into, you want that. Look for that if
Yeah.
that's important to you.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I I think social media, and this is a blessing and a curse. But social media really funnels people into that club pathway because it's almost like solo travel gets demonized in the
Yeah.
modern world. Like you're a weirdo if you're by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's hammered. Don't go out by yourself. Always go out with somebody else. And I mean, safety wise, it's hard to argue about that. But realistically, man, some of my best times have been by myself, just out in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about this before early on. Like, obviously, don't go out and hammer trails you've never seen before or do something that's crazy difficulty. But, like, honestly, man, you're driving some two track in some pretty countryside. Probably okay to be by yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of risk management there, and you just manage it by not taking risks.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
exactly. Exactly. But yeah, I think that there's that funneled pipeline into, oh, well, I can't go by myself. I need a group. Where can I find a group? You go on Facebook, Pennsylvania, Overland, and then now you've got these groups or these clubs. Um, yeah, I just think that fear really sells that there. Um, that people for whatever reason are discouraged for solo travel. Like I said, I I really like it. I have not really had the opportunity to do it for a while because, I'm with Camo all the time, which is obviously, where I want to be. Um, but I would like to catch a nice solo trip every now and then.
Yeah, solo trips are nice.
So let's say that you are looking for a club and you come across one on Facebook. How do you know that that's a good club? What should people be looking for when they are looking to join a club or an organization or find a group of people?
I think you need a club that encourages your independence and not the dependence on the club. Like
Yes.
I've seen Camo grow over the last 2 years. I'm beginning season 3 for me. And it's grown a lot. Like what are we getting? Like 4 new people a week at minimum, sometimes a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. And mind you, that's like I'm in no way coming across as pretentious and we are absolutely an open club, but I very much like stalk you a little bit to make sure that you're like all right and real and are involved in outdoors before I hit accept. So like there's there's a couple questions that are very simple. It's basically who are you, where are you from, what do you drive, and what you drive does not matter. You could drive a Pinto and you're in. Um, but the question that determines whether or not you get added to Camo is, and this isn't verbatim, but essentially it's uh, the scenario is you're driving along the route, you're on the trail, and you take accidental body damage. What do you do? And the answers are like, oops, brap, crying softly but keeping on, leaving, no body damage for me, or making a big deal, right? Well, like if you say that you're gonna pack up and leave because you got some accidental body damage, um, I don't hit yes. And look, that's totally fine. I respect your opinion and your feelings on that, but um we wouldn't mesh. So I wouldn't want you
Yeah.
to be uncomfortable. Um so a lot of folks actually get denied because of that. So of the people that get denied, it's probably like 10 to 15%. So factor that in. We are still seeing, 3 to 4 members a day, continually day after day. So it's definitely growing. I had a really weird experience actually at the one of the 24-hour events. There was a guy and he was like, "Hey, are you the camo guy?" And I'm like, "Ah, dude, I'm just the guy. Like, I'm just the guy. It's nothing. It's pretty low key. Keep it that way." But no, it's fun, man. I really enjoy it. And my goal with camo has always been I want to take the guy who joins the group and doesn't have a lot of experience or maybe even doesn't have a lot of confidence. And I want to be able, as a group, to, almost like not coach. I'm not holier than thou. I'm sure they have their own skill sets, but I want that person to feel comfortable being able to then take somebody on their first outing. And my philosophy has always been the more people that are in this hobby and actually doing it, not just talking about it, the better it's going to be for everybody. We're going to be able to fight and battle against land closures. Vendors are going to want to get involved because they actually see people doing it, not just talking about it. So the more that we can, the more that we can, facilitate that, I think that's going to be the best thing that we can do as a club.
Absolutely.
Um, I think sharing the knowledge freely. There's some weird gatekeepers out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I don't do, like, throughout life. I just man, if somebody wants to know something or truly wants to know it, I will and I know it, I share it freely. It's
Yes.
just we're all trying to do the same thing, which is go out, do our off-roading with some camping, not tear our shit up, and come home and do it again
Yeah.
someday,
Yeah.
you know?
Something that I noticed, and this was so crazy when I was in the Ford car world, there was this weird thing in the forums where people were like, I'm not answering that. I had to figure it out. You need to figure it out. It's like, what?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I suffered, so you must suffer. What?
Yeah.
No, I
What's
suffered,
wrong
so
with
everybody
you?
doesn't have to anymore. Like,
Yeah. Like, I don't
yeah,
know. There's a lot of things that I was not blessed with. But fortunately, this little niche, I'm like pretty all right at. I like to
yeah,
think that I am. It's something I'm proud of. And um I would never I wouldn't even feel comfortable regardless of what I thought of a person or what their goals were. I would not feel comfortable not freely sharing knowledge. So don't get involved with people that are not that way because that's starting off on a bad foot.
yeah.
The ooh, no rigid control. You probably have a good example for this one with officers and
Yeah, yeah. So I was in a club, man, it's been 5, 6 years ago, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the club was originally just one guy running it, and it was, like, real loose, whatever. They weren't really doing a whole lot of what I wanted to do. I think I went on, like, 3 or 4 different events, and, like, the events weren't running the way they should have been, and it was a lot of, like, brewery stuff. "Hey, we're gonna go out, here and do a ride," and it was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go ride through the apple orchard out back of the brewery," and it's like, "What is happening? This isn't what I signed up for." And then somehow that main guy was tried to break it up into all these different territories with, like, president and vice presidents and treasurers and it's like, "Dude, you've got 30 or 40 admins in this group chat for 1,200 people, that we're not even overlanding. I don't understand what any of this is doing. It all just implodes in on itself.
yeah,
You can't run a club full of chiefs and one Indian. It just
no.
doesn't work.
No. No, and it's gotta be easy going. Like, there's your core values that you stick to, but outside of that, like, guys, it's not that serious. We're not invading a foreign country, dude. Like, we're
Yeah.
we're just driving to West Virginia. We only invaded a foreign country once, all right? And only one of us got detained at the border. That's a story for another day. I'd like to hear Mark actually tell his experience.
I pictured Valletti bitching about coming back in from Niagara Falls.
Coming back in was easy. They just said, "Did you bring any plant material wink with you?" And I was like, "No." And then they asked if the trails were good, and I said, "Yep." And they said, "All right, have a good day." Getting in, I mean, it felt like we were practically at gunpoint. What's next here? Oh, I think this one's super important. I touched on it a little bit, but
Yeah.
something else that makes a good club is promoting exploration outside of the group events. We are not in the Hells Angels or the Pagans. you're not wearing camo colors or club colors. I want you guys can do this without me. I want you to go out and keep doing it. Don't plan your life around a club and don't join a club that expects you to only travel with that club. That doesn't make any sense, but I have seen it and I think it's a little weird personally.
Yeah, yeah, it's like they're all just chasing the identity of one guy. They just wanna be that one guy, and it's just so weird. Like, go
What's the
out, be your
cool
own person.
what's the Kool-Aid guy's name? Jared what the hell's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Jim Jones? No, like they drank the Kool-Aid, the cult. Was it Jim Jones? Jerry Jones?
Oh, that!
Uh Jerry Jones
The
is the
cult. Um,
uh
they all drank the Kool-Aid and,
yeah,
um
don't be that.
God, that's gonna bother me. We're gonna have so many
It's
messages and be
gotta be
like,
Jim Jones. I'm pretty sure that's Jim Jones. Uh,
I'm
I don't
drawing a
know.
blank.
Anyway, don't get in
Anyway,
that because that's weird. Um,
it's cool to see, like, our I don't wanna say smaller cliques, but it's cool to see members just kinda like, "Hey, I'm gonna go down here this weekend. Anybody wanna come?" And, like, 3 or 4 of us show up, you
yeah,
know?
that's the community. That's I think that's the perfect sign that you have facilitated a community that can grow and self-sustain is when your members are actively continuing the club function without basically hand holding from whatever bozo calls himself the leader,
The
you know?
leader.
Yeah. Self-appointed El Presidente. Let's see. What else? A good club balances preservation without ego driven gatekeeping. So basically, we want to make sure that the club is surviving, but there's a clear expectation of entry. So if there's a club, and this is an overland club, that's like your vehicle's got to be 2020 or newer, it's got to have under 20,000 miles, you got to have your first aid CPR. I mean, okay. Like, may,
Sure.
maybe if this club is doing like, West Africa or something, and this is like, you might actually get into gunfights and stuff. Sure, but for your run of the mill group of friends that's trying to build a community, if you run into stuff like that, I would avoid that. I
Yeah,
would
I'd run away.
definitely avoid that. Um, and I think the last one is the guys that are putting it together probably ought to have a little bit of experience in maybe not just the actual off-road and overland and exploration, but also like a little bit of leadership experience too. It's very apparent when there's somebody who has genuinely done things and gone exploring, but they're not very good with people. And that can make things pretty awkward. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Basically, the example that I give is don't be the fat personal trainer. It's not a good look.
Yeah. Yeah. I this is one of these things where, like, when you get into a new club, you're gonna have to go through a couple events. You're gonna have to be around for a little bit to make up your mind and see, like, how people are. But you gotta look at the rigs and, like, we've got, what, 28 episodes now, something like that? 20
Yeah,
high
we're getting up
25s?
there.
And, like, yeah. And, like, we've talked a lot about what a real I say real loosely, they're all real, but, like,
Yeah, right.
what a good overland rig is and what it has. Like, you're gonna have mud up underneath of it, you're gonna have pinstripes. It doesn't need to be loaded down like you're getting ready to go to war. And, like, if you're looking at the leaders of an overland club and they don't have, like, battle scars, you might wanna reconsider who you're going in the woods with.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you are genuinely looking for like overland. Like keep in mind
Yeah.
this whole everything that we're talking about is like what we're defining as like true overlanding, right? Not like car camping, which is totally cool. I love that too.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for that, like this isn't really, what we're suggesting, because you actually probably are looking for the guy with the clean truck because
Yeah,
you probably don't want to beat your stuff up. Um, and
which is
again,
cool. We're not
yes,
hating on it. Like, if that's your thing and you don't want to beat your
yeah.
truck up, I get it. That's why I don't have a brand new truck. I
I
don't
mean,
want to beat up
that's
a new one.
that's why I run two, Camo 1 and Camo XL. I'm
XL.
I'm not gonna beat the doors off of the Yukon. I mean, it's just I like it too much. It's my daily, but it's a really good like soft wheeling expedition rig. But am I gonna treat it the same way as the Frontier? Hell no,
No, no.
no, not a chance. Um, yeah, I think one other thing that I think is really important, and I guess this is more of a tip, when you're joining a club, but it is really beneficial if that club or group or organization has a defined centralized location where they discuss kind of the inner workings of what's going on. For us, that used to be the community chats on Facebook. um Screw you, Meta. Now it's Discord, which is so much better, I think.
Yeah.
um but I think if you don't have that, it would be very easy to be kind of left in the dark and not know what's next. Um, you don't know when to put your vacations in until it's too late. So I think that's a pretty good tip. Um, this is something that I kind of do that keeps the kind of keeps things fresh and good. Is I like to give people just the basic route. Um, But really, the vibe needs to be, "Here's the route, but we'll figure it out." Um, I it's more so that I guarantee and promise that we will make adaptations versus I guarantee and promise that the route is perfect. Um, because then it's just kinda like follow the leader, and, I don't know. I don't think that's really that fun. So yeah, I'm still planning it, but even for myself, I don't go crazy into the details of what every intersection looks like because I want to explore too. And I think the more uncertainty that I can kind of leave room for, I think that makes for a good club experience.
Yeah, I actually I don't download the GPX files typically when we do an event. I know pretty much everybody else does, but my event starts pretty much once I get out of my normal stomping grounds, and like I'm looking at how can I take a long way to the start point,
Yeah.
and then it's like I know where I'm sleeping that night. Where we go from there, I'm just along for a ride, and the whole trip's exploration to me. Just
Yeah.
enjoying the trip.
I like that. So we talked about good clubs, but what makes a bad club? What's a red flag? What gives you the overland ick?
Ego, man. Ego. When you put yourself on a tier, the leaders put themselves on a tier that's just like holier than anybody else. You could never do it as good as what they are. That's like biggest red flag all ass out there.
Yep. The one for me that I think is just like I think it's so what's a good adjective here that won't get me in trouble? I'm just gonna leave it blank. But when when you look like when you look like you're like a special ops soldier who's given like a mission briefing to go drive some gravel roads, dude, that is so bad.
Drivers meeting. We're in
Yeah,
Greenridge today.
yeah. I
Let's not hit
mean,
any trees, guys.
yeah, local fauna. It's
Yeah.
like, come on, man. Um, I mean, obviously, like a little pre-trip. Hey guys, here's what we're gonna do. Like that's cool, but you know the types I'm talking about. These are like the never served. I would have served, but I would have punched my drill instructor types. Um, they exist, and there's a lot of them, and these guys are weird. I'm sorry if you're that guy.
You're weird.
You're weird. Come on. I think that makes a bad club because you will be judged. The leadership very likely is going to be poor, and ego is like the worst attribute you could possibly have when you get into situations that are actually critical. That's someone that's going to get you hurt, in trouble, or break your rig. And I can think of one popular video. I won't go more in depth than that, but they kind of act this way. And I can think of a truck that I watched get absolutely demolished, basically. Uh, this was a newer driver, and these folks that act that way just let this guy demolish his rig. And I think ego played a big role in that. And I just don't think it's wise to get entangled in a group that acts that way. I think that's the best way to put it.
Absolutely.
Over regulation. Like, we need rules, but we don't need, like I'd mentioned before, rigs gotta be brand new, gotta have 35s. We are only a Kenda club. There's all kinds of stuff like that out there. And, you know, whatever. Uh, what do you think about manufacturer only clubs?
Um, be in them, don't be only in them.
Yep.
There are that's where you're going to find out what your common breakages are, what parts you need to be carrying, uh, where you're going to find like community made parts, like 3D printed parts, like a
Yeah.
switch panel or something that's like fits in your sunglass holder. You know, um, you're having a transmission code, you put it in there. Next thing you know, 800 other people have had that same code, and you're going to hear 800 different stories of how it got fixed. But at least you're going to know that, like, hey, this is common. You get
Yeah.
help out of those. But those groups are usually like so spread out, and there's not like a community, like a physical community. These guys never meet.
Right.
Uh,
Yep.
you got to get into like your overland communities where it's like kind of everything, and those guys do stuff. So like,
Yeah.
there's a balance there.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think within those groups, you will find like the best of the best. Like, these aren't even just best resources, but these are like people you'd want to be friends with. But you're also going to find like the worst of the worst, and like
Yes.
the never been, never will, but we'll talk about it like they're the god of it.
Yes, this is a good story. There was this guy that got into arguing over, the ARB snorkel heads actually filter water and the Chinesium ones don't, even though they're the exact same design, probably off the same
Same
mold.
mold.
Yes, and this guy took a garden hose and stuck it right into a snorkel and goes, "Look, guys, you can see the water coming out of this thing." And I'm like, holy crap, he was out wheeling like Yellowstone or something, and he was like all over the first gen Tacoma pages. And then one day he just disappeared. I haven't seen him since. Gone. I don't know what happened to the guy, but gone. And I'm glad because like, stop teaching people to take a water hose to snorkel, man.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah,
Stupid.
yeah. The vehicle speed was a major factor in the shedding effect of the water.
Yes. Yes. Like this shows nothing. Oh,
Yeah, I think another one that is really bad is status based clubs. So this is clubs with like tiered members, like, oh, this is a Trail Finder 1 and this is a gold tiered dude. Don't
yeah.
don't get involved in that.
You must have come on 3 of our trips to be qualified for this exclusive trip. No. No.
Nope.
Don't.
No,
No.
because that stuff right there is not serving overlanding as a hobby. It's not serving you as a member. The only thing that it's doing is serving whatever that guy who's the leader is trying to sell. And it's probably nothing good if he's treating people like tiered lists of things he likes. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Let's see what else here. Ooh, just the gear and truck flexing. I mean, we've talked about this, but like if you're just flexing over what you have, but you're not out there doing anything, it's pretty lame.
Yeah, yeah. I the brewery trips I go to, it's funny how many people were talking about how they like different suspensions and stuff, and it's like, man, do you know how much money you have to go through to really have an educated experience with each suspension type to be able to be like, I really like the Bilsteins over the Icons because XYZ. You just 90% of the time, this is regurgitated internet bullshit, and you
Yep.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, like,
I don't like digressive valving. I only like linear rate. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
And they
like,
can't tell you what it is on the graph. They couldn't look at
yeah,
a graph and tell you the difference between.
yeah.
So,
It's like, where have you been? Where'd you go to test that? Oh, this is your first truck and you bought Kings? All right. Like, okay.
yeah,
You know, I mean, more power to you, dude. But yeah, that stuff is, you know, the types. Um,
yeah. Stock vehicle. We preach it like so much. A stock vehicle will go so far, and you and I think it's safe to say we both heavily modified our
yeah.
little trucks, um, but they're really not far from stock. We
No, I
haven't.
mean,
We
they're
could
not
get back to
structure.
stock.
Yeah, they're not
Close. We get.
structurally like. I'm not solid axle swapped. You know, I don't
Yeah,
have shock hoops. You know,
you've put factory bolt on stuff to get your long travel with the Titan swap, but
yeah,
like we've changed some things, but it's been like, let me just weld a bracket on here and oh look, I got airbags, or it hasn't been like wholesale changes to our vehicles.
right.
We could take all of our crap off and we still got a stock truck that would probably
Yeah.
do 85-90% of what we do now anyway,
Yep.
if not more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think to wrap up bad clubs, the theme is that if it feels like a high school clique, that ain't it. You don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. That's
so
really
he
cool with Camo, actually, is like we get a bunch of people from all walks of life and all financial situations from like
yeah.
almost poverty to like Bink. And
Yeah.
when we're all sitting around a campfire, that's all gone.
Yep.
We're all just people hanging out in the woods and that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you want your you know, the term that I like is your foxhole guys. You know, your 3 a.m. foxhole guys. And I think that if you can build a community that's that, you're winning because you trust those guys to not lose their minds when stuff goes sideways, when you have to problem solve. Everyone kind of falls into what their rule, you know, what makes sense for them. No one's really sitting on their hands. Guys that want to learn are learning, guys that want to teach are teaching. It just it works. And I think if you look for clubs that fit what that good category is, I think you'll be able to do that. Um, so for this next part, this can be kind of polarizing. So let's talk about paid clubs versus free clubs. So just briefly, I'll go into kind of Camo's philosophy on this, and then we can kind of get into the different sides and the different stances, where it makes sense, where I don't really think it makes sense, and where it can make sense. So when I first got into this, I didn't know like overlanding had a name. I go off road in woods and then I sleep in woods with beer. You know, like like that's cool. That they named that shit. You know, so we took it. I've told the story. I think of the first unofficial camo trip when all my friend group from back home got trucks. And, you know, once we got home, I was like, that was the most fun I've had, the most alive I felt in forever. I want to keep doing this, but those guys aren't free all the time. I'd like to find this friend group that does this. Well, when you Google that, it's like, oh yeah, 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 and then it's like click to buy, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I didn't have to pay to do that. I don't want to pay to do it here. So I kept hitting these paywalls. I'm like, well, that's not cool. And I'm looking on Facebook, and there were some groups, but the ones that were there that were free were just kind of like forum style groups that weren't really talking. And I thought, well, if you want something done right, you damn it, you do it yourself. So I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even really know what overlanding was. I wasn't that familiar with really any of it. I just knew how to drive and drink in the woods.
Same time.
Uh, yeah. and
Allegedly.
so that was kind of what kicked it all off. And I made a promise in the beginning that I would never charge anybody to be involved in what I love doing, because I didn't want to be doing this with clients. I wanted to be doing it with my friends. I don't have any special skills outside of what I could do to offer where it would even make sense to be charged with people. I mean, could I charge for, rigging and some knowledge that I've picked up along the way? I mean, I guess, but it was just, for me, that was Camo's core value. Was I wanted to find the people that were in my situation and link up with them, and this is where we are. So that's kind of that's how Camo started. Um, my personal thoughts on paid is that the paywall creates a barrier that doesn't have to be there. So it doesn't cost anything to go drive out into public land. It's public land. The only thing it cost you was some tax dollars on your paycheck. So I don't want to double pay to just go out there and see that. Um, and I never thought that overlanding in and itself was a service. It's an act. It's what we talked about with the core pillars of overlanding. I think that public land is free. That's what it's for. So I think it's kind of, I don't know. I get a little bit irritated when I see somebody play follow the leader on public land with like 10 trucks, didn't do anything special, didn't provide a service, didn't provide anything other than follow me, and you're charging like 500-600 bucks for a truck. It's like, buddy, I don't know. That to me kind of bugged me.
Yeah, I mean, good on you for getting people to pay you to do that. Like, if that's your thing and somebody wants to do it, okay. Like, but I'm with you. That's craziness to me that people pay to go out on free land and just follow somebody.
Yeah, with no other things. It's not like, hey, we're gonna go and overlanding camp. When we get to camp, I'm gonna host a rigging and recovery course. I'm certified in first aid and wilderness first aid. We're gonna do a class on that. Like, okay,
Yeah,
that's something that's different. I think
yeah.
that's totally different. That's almost school with an experience that I think would really draw people. That makes sense. But I'm strictly speaking of, like, imagine that, me, Nick, and like, Aaron, if you want to come follow me into West Virginia, you owe me $500. And it's like,
No,
no.
no.
Um, and for me, I think that it really removes the element of adventure, because if you are paying a guide, it's like fishing. If I pay a fishing guide, I expect that guide, my expectations are that guide is going to take me to a hole with fish in it. I will cast into that hole and I will retrieve my fish. You know?
Yeah. It's kinda like when you, it's kinda like paying Ted Nugent 10 grand to go shoot a deer off his property. Like, of course you're gonna get a trophy buck. Like,
Yeah.
there's no guess about it, Like, you're gonna go
Yeah.
out there and you're gonna see the buck of your life, and you're gonna shoot it in the best possible conditions, and
Yes.
then, like, I don't know how you could be I don't wanna say, like, proud of yourself about it, but, like, I don't know how you can be happy with yourself. over
Yeah,
that. You
I
know,
know what you mean.
like you
It
shorted yourself.
yes, you didn't, and I use the example. It reminds me of there's gonna be like 7 people that get this, but in the second Tremors movie, right when the guy's giving the fake graboid tours and he's pulling on the strings to knock the fence posts down, and they got the fire extinguishers making the fake dust to make people think that they're see. That's what I see when I see a guided tour with like injected excitement and injected adventure. Um, that doesn't give me the fuzzies inside. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's kinda like walking into a paid haunted house and then going someplace abandoned to camp. Like, one of them, you're gonna get jump scared and like, okay, yeah, it's scary. Guy screamed at me. What? And the other one, you're gonna hear a cat knock a brick off the wall over here, and you're gonna be scared shitless in your tent all night. Like,
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
know, like there's a big difference there with that paywall.
yeah. And I think a lot of times when the service is just simply a guided tour, you as the participant are not a I don't want to say you're not a person to that person because that's not true, but you are also a marketing piece for that person. Your trip is just marketing for the next trip. Uh, and I don't know. I don't like that. But there is another side of the coin where this is what folks say that the positives of a paid trip is. Um, some folks would say that paid overlanding is a great service because a participant can learn new roads or new things in a controlled environment. And I think that's a
Yeah.
fair trade. I think that if you are paying a guide, there is the expectation that there is a defined deliverable. I pay you my money. You make sure I don't die and that I see this because I paid for it. Fair.
Yeah, yeah. I think that if you're paying for this service, it needs to be someplace that, like, legitimately needs a guide. Like, you're not just gonna go down to Key West and rent a boat and just go out. Like,
Yeah, right.
you know, like,
Yeah.
but you're gonna get your kayak and you're gonna float the local creek, no problem, by yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, if you're paying somebody to guide you someplace, you better be going someplace that needs a damn guide, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Like, you need to know you got your limit and, like, what you wanna do and what you're about to do is past your limit, you need help. Yeah,
yeah.
pay for that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, no.
You know, and there's another group of people who would say that a paid overlanding service is great because they actually really enjoy being a part of that guide's media. They're the movie star. Um, that's cool.
Each
I
their
mean,
own.
you enjoy that. That's cool. I think that's I mean, it's not something that I would at all be all about, but like I understand that. I know there's people like that, and I think that makes perfect sense. You get to be involved in that, look like a rock star, feel like one, get some sick pictures of your truck. Like, that's cool. You know, I'm all right with that, I guess.
Yeah.
Some folks might say that the
Yes.
logistics are easier. You know, they don't have to think about anything. You can't forget anything if somebody else is, you know, handed you the fishing rod and telling you to cast here.
Yeah, yeah. It's again, it's if you're going someplace you've never been into a potentially dangerous situation, okay. But outside of that,
Yeah,
like figure out your own logistics.
yeah.
Like download the maps and have your emergency contact stuff, and you go.
Here's the big one that I think a lot of people won't say out loud. If you're paying 500 plus dollars to go and do something like that, you probably won't be around people like me. Okay, the riffraff. $500 is going to keep out people like me
Yeah,
who are probably in your pretentious mind undesirable to be around. If that's you, mm, I hope you stub your toe. I don't know. You probably don't listen to us if that's you.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
We're entertaining sometimes.
Yeah, they just
It's
like
like,
watch it with their kids. Like, look, honey, if you don't pay attention in school, you'll be like that big dumb idiot. But there's some middle ground here. There's some folks that they don't hate it or they don't love it, but they live in the middle where they think it can make sense for some people. So here's where I live, and I think that paid makes sense if there is a real deliverable service. Like you're going out there and this person is like, hey, I am a professional videographer, photographer, and I want to highlight you. I'm going to provide you with X, Y, and Z deliverables for digital media. When we get to camp, there's going to be a something, crawfish boils. It's
something.
this is the spot that I know of that is the best for viewing the comets. It's some level of deliverable. I mentioned it before. It's wilderness first aid training. There's trainings. There's something that is tangible that you then take away from it. I think that's completely fine.
Absolutely. Access to land that like private property is another thing. Yeah, like
Yeah,
pay for that. You can get into some really, really cool stuff and do things that the National Park Service would not be happy about when you're on private land.
yeah,
So, like, you got to pay to have the most fun.
yeah.
Like the most fun is never free.
Isn't that the truth?
I just came up with that. I'm adding that to my life lessons. Like the most fun's never free.
That's a T-shirt.
That is a T-shirt.
Bookmark that. I like that.
I'm proud of that one.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So another one that makes perfect sense is you genuinely need it. Maybe there's a like actual physical disability where like if you were in a situation off road, it would be not safe for you to go out and run your winch line and hook your truck up. Like that makes perfect sense. You're paying for the guarantee that you're not going to get left in the woods because you have a nerve issue or you're paralyzed or whatever it may be that would make it very unsafe for you to do this solo or with a group that isn't like legally liable to keep you safe. Um, I think that makes perfect sense. I have no issue with that.
Yep. Same. Same. I mean,
Um,
I would like to see like if I don't know. I don't think somebody that's like I don't want to say morbidly disabled or whatever should have to pay to do that.
yeah,
Like,
I
I think it
agree
should be
full.
one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it should be one of those things of like, hey, I want to pay you to take me out, and somebody be like, you know what, I'm just going to take you out.
A
You
hundred
know,
percent. Yes. I will never ever charge somebody for any listen, there's lots of us that are disabled in many ways here.
yep,
And
yep,
I would never do that, but I can understand why somebody would feel more comfortable being in that position. I think that makes fine sense. Um, and the last one, which you actually brought this up a little bit earlier, is it genuinely could improve the experience. Like, let's say that I get the opportunity to go to Africa and drive a LC-79 somewhere across Africa. Well, like, I don't know a lot about Africa. I would probably want a guide to make sure I don't get eaten by a lion or shot by some angry paramilitary that sees a guy that looks like me cruising through West Africa. You know, I think
yep.
that makes complete sense. If you are going somewhere that is genuinely so vastly different than what you are familiar with, yeah, a guide makes total sense. That's why I went to Pierre Marquette in the upper or in Western Michigan to fish for salmon. Got a guide. You know why? I don't know shit about fishing for salmon. You know what?
Yep.
I had a great time. I guarantee you that there are fishermen who say paying for guides is not fishing. You didn't have the thrill of the catch. You didn't go through the hoops that I did. And they're saying the same things that I say about overlanding. So I understand that. It just is what makes sense to you and what you're looking for. I very openly was not looking to beat my chest to say I was the greatest fisherman. I wanted to hold a big salmon, and guess what? I did. So, you
Mission
know,
accomplished.
mission accomplished. I'm not a great fisherman. I would never say I am. I took a guided trip. So I think that's a good example of you do what makes sense for you. But I think ultimately, if you're paying, you're either buying an extra service that you want, you're buying convenience, you're buying safety, or you're avoiding the hard part, the adventure part, which, like me and my fishing, I avoided the adventure part. It would have been an adventure if I tried to figure out how to catch a salmon, but I didn't want to. And I'm okay with that. And there's plenty of people that are.
Yep.
So, the clubs kill the spirit of overlanding, or how could they?
I, yeah, they can. They remove some discovery, like some self-discovery. I mean, like going out on your own and finding stuff. Um, so like you'll be leading a group of like 10 people and you see an offshoot. If you're by yourself, you're going down that offshoot.
Yeah, I know, man. There's been so many times, and I felt bad about this, man. Like it'll be a road that it shows up on like a multi-vehicle use map, but it looks like it hasn't been traveled for a long time, and you know damn well if you were by yourself, 100 times out of 100, you're taking that road and seeing what's up there. But like, what am I going to do? Am I going to tell these 10 guys, hey guys, just put her in park here on this road while I go and check this out? Or do I have 10 people follow me and we get 300 yards and there's a tree across the road and we have to go back up double track? It's,
The answer is yes to both because you've done this to us.
I know.
You have said, guys, wait here, and then half the group follows you down into this little thorn outbreak, and we all beat the hell out of the environment in our trucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Waste an hour. It's an hour gone just like that.
It absolutely is. When you have to back a group up, it's like giving your wife the keys to a truck and trailer and saying, back this thing up, honey. Everyone just forgets how to drive. Like, it's terrible.
Not even truck and trailer. It's like your lawnmower with the little trailer that comes with it. It's like, ring, ring. Like, it is bad, man.
Yeah. A hay wagon that's got the front axle steer, so it's double backwards.
Tandems.
Yeah. It's I don't know. That's like a mathematical proof that if you have to back up on a trail, everyone forgets how to drive. You're gonna have 7 accidents. Someone's gonna get stuck. And yeah, I've done it, man. I've gone to war with myself where I've made last second, yeah, we're gonna do it, and 50% of the time it's like a super awesome choice. 50% of the time we drive into an active blast site. So true story. Happens.
Recently.
You just you take a road, turns out they're blowing it up. Adventure.
Welcome to West Virginia.
Yeah, you don't even need signs. You just start blasting. I think a club can kind of kill the spirit of overlanding when the club itself creates a dependency within the members. So like this is
When's
not
the next
at
trip?
all. Yeah, this is not at all a call out, but like I will still be driving home and my phone is like, ding, ba-ding, ba-ding, ba-ding. And I'm getting messages asking me when the next one is. And it's like, guys, I mean, I don't know. I'm not even unpacked yet. Like, you guys are free to do this
Tomorrow.
without, tomorrow, anytime. Um, and I know that's people excited, and I will never actually complain about that. I like it. It keeps me motivated, keeps me
It's a
excited.
hell of a
But
compliment.
yeah, but if you truly have a group of people that feel like they can't do it without having their hand held, then I don't know if you have a community that could be self-sustaining. Like, if I have a heart attack tomorrow, I'm 100% positive that there would be the same thing going on tomorrow as there is today. Um, but a lot of
Yes.
places, I don't think that's the case. Um, I think that when the adventure turns into strictly an itinerary, um, I think that can get kind of rough. And I'll be honest, I fall victim to this occasionally. I think a lot of it is because we always have so much to do, so far to go, and so little time, so sometimes I have to kind of remind myself, like, dude, it's okay if we don't get here. Look at how much fun everyone is having looking at this rock over here. Um, so I have to constantly kind of talk to myself, like, hey, e- read the room a little bit. Don't worry about these steps that you said you were going to do. Just kind of let it happen. And I think being flexible like that is pretty important.
The only time I think an itinerary doesn't take away is when the itinerary is set up around a special point of interest. Like
Yeah.
the one I'm thinking of is like um, Ultimate Adventure. Every other day, they have some place. Usually, it's a museum or an old prison, or like
Yeah.
there's something there where they've like rented the place and like, guys, we got this from 10 to 12. We're gonna go run this trail. Like, okay, that keeps the adventure going because like you're going into this cool shit that you set it up. Outside of
Yeah.
that, hell with an itinerary.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that having a plan is important, but I don't think your plan needs to be militant. Like, um my my itinerary is usually like, you know, I plan to have lunch in this radius, you know, d-
Yeah,
during this time slot, and I want to get to camp before dark. It's pretty much it.
that's it.
you know and here's some waypoints along the way that would be sick if we could make it to all of them, and if not, I'll adjust course accordingly. That's usually how it flows, and I think people seem to, for the most part, really enjoy that. There are some times where guys are like, hey man, like, what time are we getting here, what time are we getting there, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like, we just stopped 7 times because old prostate back there had to pee. uh it's
My
just,
kid puked.
yeah, we got puke in the front seat. The dog's car's sick. I mean, stuff happens, and you got to be able to roll with that. So, if you let your itinerary roll, then you're kind of crushing the spirit of Overland. Um, I think
I
that it
think
can,
this one's a big one too. The next one.
yes. So, when a club can kill the spirit of overlanding, when it reduces skill development, this goes back to dependency. So, why would, Bob and the JK learn how to build a fire if Kevin is the fire guy? Bob's been on 7 trips. He has no idea how to build a fire. Now, again, like, we're not in these survival situations, right? But like, that's kind of a core thing to learn and do. And um there's instances like that where I think it's important. And the other one is gear, right? Like, I'm never going to come at people for having or not having gear. But if somebody thinks that, like, well, I just don't need a shackle mount to go into my receiver because someone always has one. Well, that's kind of a problem. You know, there's going to be a time when someone doesn't. Someone's always going to have, maybe everyone has D-rings on their bumper and no one has anything to slide into your hitch. And now we're making a soft shackle contraption to slide through your receiver, and we're about to pull your bumper off because of the angle we're pulling at. And that's because you got dependent on somebody else because the club as a group, as a community, didn't encourage you to be able to self-sustain and learn and build and grow and get better. So I think when that happens, you do kind of crush the spirit of overlanding.
Absolutely.
But they can help. They can grow overlanding. So how can we as a club grow and continue on the spirit of overland?
So it's got to be a good entry point for beginners. Like
Mhm.
you need to get a beginner. The beginners need to feel welcome. I think is the biggest thing that could help. There's been a lot of clubs I've been in where I don't know that the beginners are really welcomed. That they're kind of like viewed as a nuisance in a way, and like slow the group down and stuff. And it makes it, I don't know, it's hard for people to want to stay around.
Yeah,
If you're struggling every time you show up and nobody's really helping you not struggle, like you're not having a good time.
yeah. In a weird way, I almost I don't want to say I would rather have only beginners with me because that's not true, but I genuinely love having beginners with me for a couple reasons. Number one,
Hmm.
and it feels kind of silly, but I don't ever feel, and not that I feel judged by anybody else, but a beginner is not judging me. They're not judging really anything. They're so not overwhelmed, but they're so like overcome with all of this new stuff and they're taking it all in. Um, it's really cool. And my favorite part is watching somebody that has never done something before or never done anything like it before. And they do it, and that look in their eyes that they'll never get again is
Yep.
like, dang, that was cool. And I've been very fortunate to experience that with a lot of people who are now they're not beginners. They're as able to coach and train and take people out as anyone. And that is for me that is cool. I think the biggest takeaway is a lot of folks will look at a group of trucks out in the woods and say like, "Oh, that's just a bunch of guys playing follow the leader, clogging up the trails." Well, it can be, but I'm telling you that you can find a group, and if it doesn't exist, you can create a group that is a group of guys that could be 10 trucks, and no matter what you do, it could feel like an adventure, an expedition, a trip into the unknown. It has to be with the right people. And I think if you can do that, not only do you have that community, which is super important, but you don't kill the spirit of Overland, which is really the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Let's see here. I like how a group will create a shared experience with others. Like you both get into something, or somebody plays a prank on somebody, or somebody eats the wrong chocolate bar, and like it all it gets brought up, and like we all laugh about it, and like you have this camaraderie with it, and like that makes it so cool to look forward to the next time, because like now you got something to harass somebody with.
Yeah. Yep. And a good trip like that is like the generator of dad lore. Like it's stuff that you're gonna take to your grave, dude. There's so many camo stories that when I'm old and senile and my brain's full of holes from all the concussions, I'm still not forgetting the time that Mikey Barr floated the damn rapids in his blow up
In
air
a
mattress
mattress.
before bedtime.
He about took a flight under that air mattress out of the back of the Raptor. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I mean that's just it's stuff
uh,
that like you there's not another thing you could do that will even create memories in the same category as stuff like that. And I think that's just it's cool. Um, and I think that you can keep people engaged and it's fun. It's fun to share what you have going on. Like I don't care if it's just like a little new dome light thing you made. Like I want to see your projects. That stuff is exciting to me.
Yeah. I get a huge kick of, like, enjoyment, dopamine hit out of, like, somebody coming to me with a project and being like, "I can't figure this out," or "I want X, Y, and Z," and then being able to tell them how to do it. And I try really hard to do this, is, like, if I tell you how to do something, I want you to understand why I did it so that you can use it later and adapt it to something. Like, I wanna use it as a teaching moment. So, like, I help your project, I teach you something. It's it it's just I enjoy that. Like,
Yeah.
I really do. Like, it's cool to see what people come up with and how they grow.
Yeah. And sometimes I think this is like it almost goes the other way, so it's like not necessarily a great personality trait, but I genuinely take a lot of pride in somebody else's happiness and experience. Like
Yeah.
if somebody else is noticeably happy, like I am very happy. Like that makes me feel very, very good. But the flip side of that is if I can tell somebody is like not feeling it, I take it personally. And
Same.
I know I probably shouldn't, but uh I'm always trying to read the temperature of the room, and I can tell, dude. Like I know when people are MFing me with the radio off. Like when people stop chatting on the radio and it's like 7 p.m. and we're like 70 miles of dirt from where I thought we'd be camping and no one's talking and like the pace, like people are on my bumper a little bit more. It's like, yeah, these guys are mad. That gets me, man. It hurts my feel. I'm trying, but yeah, I think I don't know, man. I think
It's cool to see people happy.
yeah, and my personal thought is that clubs do not kill the spirit of overlanding, but bad clubs and bad participation can. I think that's the biggest takeaway. I think that I think that if people are continually trading off adventure and the unknown for safety and comfort when they don't need it, I think that kind of can. I think that can cause some issues and that kind of adds to the degradation of what overlanding is and isn't. I think you're going to be fine out there, bud. Just get out there.
Get out there. Just do it.
But the number one killer of overlanding is insta landing.
Yes.
Doing it, doing it for the gram.
Doing it for the gram. Instagram, I don't know, man. There's some really cool stuff that comes across Instagram, but I don't know. There's like this you can really fake some stuff sometimes with Instagram, and oversell
Absolutely.
stuff. Oversell the expectations of what you're doing and like, "I
Yes.
overlander," and it's just
Yeah.
it's not that hard.
No, and you know
Doesn't
what?
have to be.
It makes me think of like these parents that they film these beautiful videos of their clean house and the white sheets, and their kids are so well behaved, and they're sitting there doing their little drawing pad, and it's an ad for this drawing pad, and everything is so perfect, and you as the parent watching that are thinking like, "Oh my gosh, my kids would never sit there and they would never sit and draw like that, all four of them together." But what you don't see is 5 minutes before, dad is standing behind mom with a sledgehammer with their kid's favorite toy going, "If you don't sit still and smile, I'm gonna smash it." It's like a lot of it's fake and a lot of that is true with overlanding. Think about these companies. They pay an influencer to go out and they send them a DJI drone and they say, "This is where you're going to park at this time and we're going to fly this drone around you and it's going to be perfect." And I'm sorry, but it's not gonna be perfect.
And you know what's crazy about Instagram? Instagram is, this fakeness happens all the way up to the OEMs. Mopar dropped was it a Trailhawk at the top of, what's the famous one out West California? The trail everybody does.
Um, the,
The Rubicon.
Rubicon, yep, yep.
Yeah. They dropped one up there at the top of the Rubicon with a helicopter and took pictures of it. There, like, look at this Trailhawk at the top of Rubicon Trail, and it's like, this thing's not making it up the Rubicon, but you're
No.
on Instagram, you're selling this, and
Yeah,
people in this industry know what that is, where it is, and they know it's like this is fake. But new people coming in, they're gonna go out and no offense to the Trailhawk owners, but like
right.
they're not making it up the Rubicon with it, you
No.
know?
No, and, I mean, hell, even, like, manufacturers are doing this with non-performance cars, like, I think it's a Hyundai commercial, it shows, like, a Telluride or something doing or it
Yeah.
might be a Palisade, going, like, broadside in the desert through this dirt or something, and it's like, first of all, I own a Telluride, and the all-wheel drive system is so crappy, you would never it would never slide.
Yeah.
And, like, this car is designed to go to a Walmart. What are you like, why are you selling it this way? And I think that's the same question with Overland. Why are you selling Overland this way? That's, like, such an unrealistic expectation, and obviously that can happen, right? But, I don't know, real overlanding is like you park, but you're accidentally on like, bugs are infesting you and you're fighting the bugs off and it's muddy and your zipper on your rooftop tent broke. So you got a clothes hanger in there. And I don't know. It just,
Your diesel heater died, you're
yeah, you're
freezing.
freezing to death.
Your tent blows away.
Yeah.
So you know you're sleeping in your rafter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Just be be real about it, have real expectations and seek the adventure. Don't seek the Instagram perfection because if you keep seeking that, you're never going to be happy. And I think that's with all social media, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
Social media is a plague, man.
oh, isn't that the truth? As we're broadcasting on all
Yeah, our
forms of
influence.
social
We're
media.
influencing on social media. It's the plague. Ugh.
So why should you join a club, right? For me, and this is my number one, you like the community. You can build and foster a community that is awesome. I think that's a primary reason to join a club. If you're new, you want to learn faster. What better way than to get around people that know what they're doing and they want new people to get involved so that they can teach and learn and elevate each other. I think that's really important. Maybe you need a network of people, This is kind of one we didn't really talk about, but overlanding is kind of a business because the name in itself is like the trade name for selling camping stuff to guys that like expensive trucks.
Yeah.
So find a group of people that is involved in that, heavily involved in it, and you can get intertwined in that, and that's going to be good for you. Um, And the club, it needs to align with what your goals are. If you are like a hardcore wheeler, don't join the club that's all Subarus. You're going to be bored in your Jeep, and that's nothing against the Subaru crowd. It's just like, that's
I
not
don't
going to
know. I was
mesh.
pretty entertained following some Subarus. I'm just saying, guys, like,
Yeah,
it might be worth doing it.
that's true. That's true. Um, and,
uh,
avoid clubs if you're just not a people person, man. Uh, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Um,
Don't hang around people if you don't like people.
yeah, I think that the big one to avoid or leaving a club is if you being there benefits leadership of the club, but not you as a member of the club. I think that's pretty evident that there's a problem and you're not going to be very happy.
Yeah.
So, I think my closing take for me on clubs is the moment that you need the group or the group leader in order to feel adventure, you've already lost it. You've lost your adventure. I think that's how I would wrap it up.
Yep. I think that's a good wrap.
Anything to
It's
add? Anything to add on clubs? I know. I mean, I guess a shameless camo plug, but I'm real proud of what camo has become, and not as myself, but as camo as a group. I mean, there's a lot of really cool people, man. It's the 3 a.m. foxhole people. It's the guys that like. I'm pretty damn positive that if I sent in the Discord right now, like, hey, this is real, so tomorrow I have to dig like a 7 foot hole and install a drain so that the spring that stops flooding my well. Like some guys would show up, and these are guys that I've
yeah.
met like within the last year. So you really can build something really cool, and it's true. If you build it, they will come. And I think that my best advice to somebody who wanted to start a club would be build a club that you yourself would want to be a member of. Don't build a club that you think will just bring in more members. Um, I think that just gets messy. I think I think there's something that we missed though that I wanted to get into with bad
Okay.
clubs. So
Okay.
there was a club that was Pennsylvania based, and there was an there was an individual who, like, the guy was just mean. He had a Facebook group with like a couple thousand people from Pennsylvania, and the guy would just he'd post an event, say, "Hey, we're doing this," but he never networked with the people, never talked to people. It was kind of evident that nobody really knew him, so nobody would come, right? So this guy would get back on, and he would just start like shit talking all the members of the club, like, you guys are all fake. Nobody actually does this. And I think there were some other things that he did that maybe aren't appropriate on this media, but this is not a good person. Um, but my favorite story, and this will give it away as to what this is, uh, the last trip that this individual tried to host, um, was a legitimate swingers swingers trip. He made it very evident that you were not welcome unless you were bringing a partner, and the partner had to be male, female, and like you got to be cool and open. And as you can imagine, like this guy just got drunk. But I did just want to bring that up because that was like the quintessential perfect example of just the worst club I've ever seen. Well, what do you say we get into Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it, man. We got some cool stuff here with the Q&A now.
Yeah, so listen, guys, whether you're planning a trip, leading a group, pounding pavement, or hanging around camp, make your trip worth talking about with a conversation starter game with Radio Chatter. Who are these guys, Aaron? Why don't you tell us a little bit about Radio Chatter and who they are and what we're going to do here?
So last week we kind of teased it a little bit. Radio Chatter, I had them come across my Instagram a few weeks ago, and they do a card game that they've got questions on it, and it is just questions to when the radio dies and you're on that road 70 miles from where you're supposed to be at 7 o'clock at night, you can break the anger with some questions here. And I was like, this fits us really well. And I would I would like to partner with these guys. So I reached out to them, and they were about it. So they're on board. Every week we do Q&A now, and we're going to have them on the show next week. and hear their story and stuff. But we figure we give you a little taste of it now, and I don't know, we'll read 1, 2, 3, whatever. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
there's a
then
lot of them here. I haven't opened it yet, actually. So
yeah, I opened mine.
yeah,
Here, let me grab.
I mean, it looks to be is it a full deck of cards? Are these cards
It
like
is a
playing
full
cards
deck of
too?
cards. Yes, they're playing
Oh,
cards too.
okay, that's cool. That is sweet. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to look at too many of them. Actually, I don't want to spoil them.
I've looked at them all. They're all really
Yeah.
cool. The very first thing that pops up for me is they have this first card,
I was
and
like,
they
just
go
shuffled my deck.
That's okay. That's okay. I'll read it. Radio Chatter is a fun conversation starter pack that can be played with friends over the radio on your adventure travels. There are no wrong answers, and providing more detail in your responses is encouraged. Also, the game is a conversation starter pack and deck of playing cards, which saves space and reduces weight. But
I'm in for it. I like it.
yeah, there's some really cool questions in here. I'm excited to do this over the next
Well, let's all right.
yeah.
Let's take a poll. Let's see here.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you pull from your deck.
This is great. Okay. What close encounter with nature have you had? What close encounter with nature have you had? I have a perfect one for this.
I have a really good one for this.
Good.
So I was I don't know, early 20s. Wife and I are dating, and we get into, little poke war, whatever's, we're going out the door. I forget where we were going, doesn't matter. My dad had cats outside of the house, and he used to feed, just put a plate down, throw some cat food down, and the cats would come and go, whatever. Anyway, my wife ended up pushing me out the door, and like, I'll be out in a minute, like close the door behind her or behind me after she pushes me out and locks it.
Oh no.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I turn around and there's a possum like all and I'm like me to the laptop away from it, and I'm just on the door. Let me in. So that's my close encounter with nature. I got pushed out the door to a possum at my doorstep. I ruined his dinner.
So that's good. Mine so mine actually happened on a camo trip. We took a pee break. We were somewhere along I don't remember the name of the ridge, but it's part of the old Civil War trails along like the Cheat Mountain Ridge in West Virginia. And we'd stop for a pee break, and the trucks looked really cool around this corner. And there was this little hillside, and there were some ladies, so I had walked up, so I was out of the way. And um, I turned around and I'm like, man, this is really picturesque, man. This is cool. And there's this little knoll on the hill, and I was like, oh, that's even higher. I'm going to stand up there. And I'm standing up there, and I'm taking pictures. And all of a sudden, my ankle, it felt like I rubbed up against like a stinging nettle or something. I was like, damn, that hurt. And I moved a little bit, and then I felt my calves started to like get stung up, but I was wearing pants. And I looked down, and for the last minute, I had been trampling all over this giant anthill of these red ants.
Oh, shit.
I go taking off down to the truck like I'm freaking Ricky Bobby on fire. I'm trying to get my boots off, but they're like mid boots and they're laced. And I kick my boots off. One boot goes in the culvert. The other one it like landed on the hood of the truck. I rip my pants off. Everyone's looking at me like, what the is going on with Nick? I'm like, rip my pants off. I'm like beating myself to get these ants off of me. And it was like, yo, what's wrong with you? And I'm trying to explain that I'm getting eaten by ants. But yeah, that's my most famous animal encounter, I think.
I have another really good one too. I thought about. We were out on the Potomac with a jet boat, and we were coming back after fishing, And in the middle of the Potomac, I see these heads like swimming, which is like really odd. You know, you don't see heads swimming like that. It's animal head. What the hell? Um, we came up on like 11 deer swimming across the Potomac.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, you know, of course me, I'm like, "Oh, let's go check them out. Ah! You know, so we get right up on them to where we're like probably harassing them at this point. But like, it was really cool to see a deer swim in clear water, like 10 feet away
Yeah.
was
That's
really,
cool.
really
Yeah, I've
cool.
never seen that. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I've got a picture of it. I'll try to find it for you and send it to
Yeah.
you, and that way you can post
I
it up.
have the pictures that I was taking as I was being eaten alive too. They're nice pictures. Uh, all right, what's your pull?
Oh, hold on. Let me open this up here. I'm not even gonna shuffle. I'm just pulling one out. Oh, this will be good. What is your favorite road trip music?
Oh, um, man, kind of depends on the mood. Um,
Yep.
Typically though, I'm in like the divorced dad rock. Like, give me some like Nickelback, Tool, Audio Slave, Alice in Chains, Creed, like that kind of vibe. Um, but also just like noise metal, like 6 Feet Under, and like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. I kind of like. Basically, I don't know, pretty much anything, but usually divorced dad rock. That's probably my go-to.
Yeah, I'm all over the board with my music. I go everywhere from like Mojo Nixon to the Beach Boys to Travis Tritt to uh, just everything, man. Uh, you know, it's funny this came up. I was actually going to ask you a similar question. Have you ever listened to like orchestra music when you're going through the woods?
Mm,
So, okay,
no,
okay,
but I
so
can.
okay, so I have kids. I am a really big fan of How to Train Your Dragon. So
Yeah, great.
I put
Yeah,
the
I
soundtrack
fuck
on
with
my
Toothless.
Spotify. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I get down, Toothless. Astrid, woo! Um, but anyway, I put the soundtrack on my Spotify, and Piper and I were hauling ass through our little what was that trip we took last summer? I think we were in Bower Basin where it was like
Y-
raining through the
Yeah,
woods,
yeah,
hauling
yeah.
it, and that stuff comes on, and it felt like we were in Jurassic Park. Like I was waiting for a dinosaur to just come walking out of the wood. It totally changed the experience. Just blare some of that.
I'm here
Uh,
for that. I'm all about that. I mean, honestly, um, some classical music is like musically, it is heavier than things that is written today. Like that is some heavy
yeah.
shit. I mean, it's played on strings, you know, and brass, but um, it's heavy
Speak,
music.
speaking of heavy music, have you ever listened to Metallica with the San Francisco Symphony?
Yes. Yes,
Badass.
that is badass. That is badass. That was recent actually that I just scrolled past that. It's funny you bring up Metallica. I remember when I first became a metalhead, like literally, it's a core memory. Um, we were at the 24 hours of snowshoe mountain bike race. So basically, you had a team and you did one lap and whatever team did the most laps continuously for 24 hours was, you know, the victor. And my dad and
Right.
uncle, and they always had a team. And you know, I was young, and I remember the song One by Metallica came on, and I was like, whoa, this song got guns in it. You know? And like from that moment on, dude, it was like Motley Crue, AC/DC, Metallica, Queensryche. Like I was Mr. Born Too Late, dude. My
Yeah.
next 10 years was like I am wearing black boots, acid wash jeans, and a denim jacket. That's it.
I got into the music. Motley Crue grabbed hold of me. I think it was the album Red, White, and Crew. It was
Yeah,
like a remastered, like all their greatest hits or
yeah.
whatever. And there was some music on there that I've never heard like played on the radio that is like some of my favorite, and I haven't heard it in like 15 years now. I've kind of forgotten about it, lost the CD. Um, but Kickstart My Heart, every time that comes on, dude, I am very likely to get a speeding ticket.
Yep. That and Livewire.
Livewire, yeah.
Yep. That's like that's one of my favorite speeding songs. Not that I would ever speed in ever. Um,
Not a race. It's
no,
not a race.
not a
It's a
race.
rally.
But yeah, that's a band.
Mr. King to the City.
Man,
Yeah, that's a bad song to come on at the wrong time.
yeah, man, I saw them live, and poor Vince Neil, he sounded so bad. He was so out of breath. He needed loaded into a paddy wagon and given oxygen like three bars into Home Sweet Home.
Dude, there's a I'm gonna send it to you. There's this girl. It's gonna take me a minute on YouTube. There's this girl that does a cover of that in like a bluegrass type theme. Dude, she nails it. Her vocals are insane. I'll post it somewhere so it's
Yeah,
like public.
this
Maybe our
is
Facebook page.
this is hard to admit, but Miley Cyrus has like the best metal, hard rock voice ever. If I'm not mistaken, she did some a Metallica cover. I believe it was a Metallica cover, and it freaking rocked. And if Lars wasn't such an ass, and James didn't suck so bad, right? Like, if they could all just get along and just do one record that featured Miley Cyrus, it would be such a banger. But instead, we had to deal with that. What was it, Lux Eternal or whatever? That is the worst album I have ever heard in my life. And this is a kid that grew up bowing down to Metallica. I do have a closet closet music that I like. I absolutely bop to anything Avril Lavigne.
I was gonna say this. Yep. You and I have a love affair here with Avril Lavigne music. We can be skater boys. We can sing it.
I will be doing some absolutely disgusting, like West Side Barbell style lifting at the gym, and like Head Above Water is on in my headphones.
Man, I used to play like Michelle Branch. Like in the work truck, I'd be sitting in the middle of Frederick. There'd be like a homeless guy over here begging for money, and I'm just there cranking Skater Boy or like whatever
dude.
it is.
I mean, we pretty much grew up in that, like, and we were in that same like niche of like,
yeah,
we were funneled into that. Yep. Yeah, my music thing, I can't say, I'm not like I don't understand music in any way. I'm more hillbilly with it, but uh I can go from that to just like the dark, like Vulvodynia level of like weird psycho metal. I don't know. I like pretty much everything. The only thing I don't really get into is like modern rap, if you can call it that. Now, like old school stuff, like Biggie, Papa, like what am I, like Nate Dogg, like that stuff's cool. I'm into that. That's like some real cracker, you know.
I can get down
This
with
guy
some
can get
Nelly.
down with that.
Little country grammar, little EI.
Yeah.
I got some good stories with that in the back of an accent with too much subs. Rattling license plate.
Oh, anyway, as you can see, that was what, 2 questions, and we've just been sitting here BSing for how long? So I think these are sick. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to keep doing this because we have like 52 of these each. So that's like a year's worth of these, and they have other things on their website too. So If you want to get these, I believe it's radiochattergame.com, I think is where you can get the
I
packs of
think that's
cards.
what it is.
They are not very
And
expensive.
no, I believe I believe this pack is like $15. And it comes with some other stuff, I believe, too.
Yeah, got a
We will
cool
know for sure next week.
sticker up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Got a tread lightly, little reminder for tread lightly. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You can tell
And
I'm very excited to meet them because you can kind of tell based on like their website and the stuff that they put out. Like, again, I haven't met them yet, but they seem like very good people. So I'm very
yeah,
excited
yeah.
to
Uh,
meet them.
they wrote me a short letter, just saying they were excited for us, whatever, and they had their kids sign it, and I
Oh,
thought that
that's
was
cool.
really cool. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's
Like the
cool. I like
handwriting.
that.
He wrote out my name, and then he wrote out his name, and it's like the end of it was like capital, and the beginning was undercase. But it was really cool. It was cute.
Yeah,
It
that's
was.
cool.
This is like as down home, like this is
Our
cool. They
people.
made it themselves.
Yeah.
Our people, yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
They come up with something, but they sent us an extra pack. So how do you
Oh,
want to give it away? We're gonna give this away to somebody. Somebody could win this. How should they win it? You know what? Let's ask a question, and whoever answers our question, tag Radio Chatter with the answer, and then we'll pick our favorite one. We'll have them pick their favorite one next week.
Okay, I like
away.
that. So the questions that
You
we
like
asked
that?
each other, have
Let's
them
just
answer.
Let's
pick
pick
a new
a
one.
question.
Okay, yeah.
You pick a new one because I got this. I'm going to give this deck away.
Okay, so
My deck's actually sitting in the truck door.
All right, I'm going to pick a random. So, this is great. Okay. So you're going to get a free Radio Chatter pack of cards if you answer if you could go on a road trip with any famous person, who would it be? Now, I'm going to say living or dead. And if you can answer that, but you got to tag Radio Chatter, and you got to tag us too. And if we see you on any of the social medias, because we hang out there, we will send you a pack of these.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if we could do it all on our Facebook page. Like tag us wherever, but like let's try to do it off the Facebook page.
Yeah, that'll be easier. I think Radio Chatter is pretty active on Facebook, so tag them.
They're on
tag
Instagram.
Us,
yeah,
and you'll get yourself a pack of cards. So that was cool. So so what's new? I see. So we've got the truck behind you, and it looks like there's no engine hoist in the frame.
Engine hoist. It is actually in there. Everything on the top side is hooked up, even the battery. I still got to put the bumper and stuff on. It needs fluids, and the underneath done. The exhaust isn't on it yet. I got to put a splash shield up and just button it up.
Yeah.
Probably about an hour of focus time, and I'm going to turn the key on this thing, and hopefully I have my truck back.
I'm excited.
That's a big deal.
My eye was hurting, so I can't imagine.
Dude, I have really, really missed my truck. I despise driving automatics. Like it crushes me to drive an automatic. I get angry with them. They never do what I want to do. Like I love my Dodge. I really do. I hate the transmission in that thing. I swear it's a CVT. It's not, but the torque converter is so loose. I just watch the RPM go up. I set it about $2,000, and we eventually get to whatever speed. You don't feel it shift. You hit the gas, and it'll go up and hit the limiter while we accelerate ish, and then you come back down. Like, I want my manual back. And like, I put a lot of time into this. I'm comfortable in it.
Yeah.
Like I like being able to hit the railroad tracks and jump them when I've got somebody tailgating me that doesn't know the railroad tracks. Do that. I can't do that in my Dodge. This lands beautifully. Like, man, I miss I'm so happy to hopefully get it back. Like, realistically, this is a junkyard. Yeah, this is a junkyard motor with 200,000 miles, basically. So, like, it ran for a while, loading it up. I cut some donuts here. I think it's okay, but like you really don't know until you get it out in the road. I couldn't get it out in the road before I bought it because it's a crash, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
the crash is if you're going to get a used motor, it's better to get it from a crash because it was running all the way to the scene of the crash. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
parked, ran when parked. Doesn't say how it ran. It just got parked, like
Right.
so
It
I
was
think
running at time of death.
yeah, yeah. Um so I think I'm gonna be okay. I fought it though. I got my ass kicked yesterday trying to get the clutch lined up, and then I got the motor in and realized there was a splash shield between the motor and the transmission that goes behind the flywheel, and there's not enough space to bolt it. So it got notched and then wouldn't stay in place, and then it got welded to the block. And I don't I don't normally do stuff like this, but like I really want my truck back, and this needed to be there. So
Yeah.
yeah, there was some hackery yesterday. Today it all fell together nicely though.
Well,
But
that's good.
yeah,
That's good.
I'm probably I've got stuff going tomorrow. It's probably Sunday. I'm gonna fire this thing.
Yeah.
You'll get a
We
Snapchat me going down the road, no hood on it. I love this truck.
I don't have anything crazy automotive going on. I have a couple little things that I truthfully I don't think this weekend I'm gonna have time. I picked up an awning for the roof basket of the Yukon. Um
What kind? Did you get a
uh
180 or just a pull
I
out?
didn't. I got a crazy it was a I'm not gonna say where because I don't want our spot to be out in public, but it was that place. Um
Yeah,
I paid like $40 for it. It's an all top, so $40, dude. Brand new. You can't really beat that.
you can't beat that.
Um, realistically, I would love to have a 270. But for 40
So I
bucks,
saw this is a good lead into this. I saw a guy online this week asking what side to buy an awning for. Do you do it for the driver's side or the passenger side?
Mm.
And I have an opinion on this, but I want to hear yours. What are
Hmm.
you doing with yours?
So mine is going on the driver's side, and the reason is if I were to sleep in the vehicle, I would be entering from the driver's side rear. Because
Okay.
that would be the way that the seat that seat would be the seat that is folded down and out of the way for me to get in that way.
Is that the wide one or the narrow one in the back? Like it's a 60/40 seat that folds down?
So I have
You're a big guy. I just want to know like how much space you taking up.
so I put captain's chairs in the middle of the Yukon. I picked them up out of a wrecked
Oh yeah.
Escalade, I do believe it
Okay.
was. Yeah. Um so but it just the way that my stuff packs in, that seat is down. Um
So you're sleeping in a captain's chair? Like just hit
So
the
what's
thing and tilt
sick
back
about that no, so what's sick
and
about that setup is with the 3rd row removed and the captain's chair folded down, there's like another flap and it makes a perfectly flat surface the whole
Nice.
way from the back of the driver's seat to the rear hatch. It's
Nice.
and actually it's so long, like I'm 6 foot and I can put my feet pointed down and my arms above my head and I don't touch above or below. There's
Wow.
so much room. But that's where mine's gonna go is gonna be the driver's side just because that's where I'm gonna enter to and from. And I also think like if I need to grab something out of the truck and it's raining, I'm probably getting in and out on the driver's side. So that's my thought process on it.
So I'm also driver's side for multiple reasons. My truck is set up driver's side heavy. Just it shouldn't be because of the taco lean. It's even worse because I got all my weight on the driver's side. My anchor is on that side. The battery bank anchor, not my boat anchor.
Yeah.
Um, the refrigerator's on that side. And of course my driver's seat where I've got like all my, close stuff, whatever. But you roll into like a campsite with a group, cul-de-sac type, you all go around the right side, make a circle with the driver's side of everybody's vehicles facing the campfire. rip that thing out. Like, you're facing the group.
Yeah.
And like even my spare tire swing on the back opens to the passenger side. I don't want that covered. Like it can get wet. Hell,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like I don't want that there. And then I haven't been using the pass through the camper, like crawling in through the cab and going up through the floor. I've just
Mhm.
been putting a ladder on the passenger side. And I feel like that kind of gives you privacy. You open up the door there and you're
Yeah.
not open to the circle.
Yeah.
You're
No,
outward.
I like that. That's smart.
So also I feel like if you end up camping on the trail, like for the pass, if you want to put it on the passenger side, the only benefit I see is if you're going to end up camping on a trail, you gotta park on the road. You're opening it up to the shoulder and
Yeah,
not to traffic.
right, right.
Um, but that's really the only benefit to the passenger side I see. I think it goes driver's side. You see it in the mirror too. You can look
Ye
down and like,
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah, it's still there, yeah.
it's still
Yeah.
there. You haven't hooked a 87-foot vine on your 24-hour rally, dragging
Yeah.
it around everybody.
I did have some excitement, at work this week. I got some street cred this week.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell this story. This is a good one.
So, all right, little backstory. So I am a consultant for industrial commercial safety, right? It's not that glamorous, but I kind of enjoy it most of the time. The client that I was working for was doing a um, manhole tie-in very deep in a street in the city. And I'm going to be vague with these locations, but I am working in objectively the roughest part of said city at the highest hill of said city. Um, it's not a nice place. There was a shooting at the construction entrance to that project's gate. And I mean, just a straight up shootout in broad daylight. So, like, it's not a nice place. I drive an hour to get there, so I don't really live by it. But this is kind of the folks that I'm around, okay? Um, for lack of a better descriptor, I stick out like a sore thumb if I were to walk down the street. All right. So we are standing around this egregiously large hole behind the guardrail that I have required these fine folks to set up so nobody falls into this very deep hole. And the road is kind of torn up and the sidewalk is kind of torn up and the road that we're working on is closed. And this fella comes walking up and he is physically disabled some way, whether it was a back or a leg issue. He's got a very serious limp and we're like, "Hey, man, are you all right?" And he blurts out like, "She stole my walker," but it's a very breathy, labored breathing. This guy's struggling, He's probably in his 50s, 60s, and he's not healthy. And all he says is, "She stole my walker." And I'm like, "Oh, man." I'm like, so this one bonehead laborer that I actually really like the guy, he goes, "What happened?" And he gets a little closer and he's pointing and he's going, "She stole my walker up there. There it is." And it's like on the other side of the spoil pile that we have. And I mean, basically, like, again, without being insensitive, this crackhead woman stole this guy's walker and put it behind our spoil pile, unbeknownst to us, right? So we're like, "Oh shit, dude! Like, we'll get your walker. Just stop right there. Don't go any closer." So I'm looking at him like, "Sure as shit, dude. There's this walker. It looked like it had parking tickets stuck to it. Was buried behind these trash cans." And I'm like, "Oh, jeez." So I get this guy's walker and I give it to him and he's thank you. And he's like, "Can I sit here for a second? I'm really out of breath." And he visibly was really out of breath. This was not like a beggar. Like someone had wronged this man who was very evidently down on his luck, possibly homeless, right? And we're like, "Yeah, man, you can sit here." He's sitting on this concrete block that we were using as like a tie off anchor point. And um, he looks up and he goes, It was like a Jersey bear. It's big block. He looks up.
I'm thinking of the other story you told me about the Jersey block.
Oh, yes. So, yeah. Yeah. So he looks up and so this guy looks up and he says, "Hey, listen, I'm really struggling and I could really use a meal. I don't want any money. There's a corner store a block away. I would really appreciate a drink and a sandwich." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'll take care of you. Let's go for a walk, because these guys can't leave the job. I'm the dumb old safety guy. They're probably happy if I'm leaving, It's like, all right,
That's
like
right.
I'll feed the guy, Now again, like I'm not like visually that guy. All right. So like I'm not super welcome in this area because it's very much so like high gang activity, like, I got my vest on, I've got my hard hat under my arm, and I go into this corner store and the guy inside, he doesn't speak a lick of English. There's only one cooler and all of the drinks are just lying on the floor like in piles, and the only thing in the cooler is like some packs of bologna and like cheese and butter, but every other food item and every other drink is just like on the floor in this corner store. Like it is just awful, dude. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what the hell is this, So I'm like, Jesus, what can I get this guy to eat? It's just Doritos and Ho-Hos in here. There's not even there weren't even bottles of water. The closest thing to water was Gatorade. So I'm like, all right, like, okay. I'm like, I'm trying to help this dude out, So I found there were like loaves of bread. So I got this guy a loaf of bread, the pound of bologna, and um some other prepackaged thing, like a protein bar, a Gatorade, and a Mountain Dew, and getting a bag. And I'm like, hey, man, I was real sorry. They didn't have anything pre-made. Hopefully, you got a place that, everything here you could eat right out. He's real happy about it. And all of a sudden, I hear these dudes behind me and they're like, hey, yeah. And I turn around, there's like 3 or 4 dudes sitting on this porch that was around the corner. And they're like hyping me up that I like help this dude out. And I'm like, I am unsure if I am about to get shot in the street or if I have some legit like street cred right now. But these dudes are like, nah, man, that's so cool that people like you exist, man. And they're like very high, And I was just like, what is happening right now? Go back to the job and they're of course, all the guys are like, oh yeah, there's gonna be 50 of them here tomorrow. And I'm like, fuck you guys. Yeah, I guess I got some street cred in the legit, like the legit hood. So that's cool.
That's cool.
I don't know. I don't think nothing else crazy going on. I'm gonna probably Tuesday of this coming week. I think I'm gonna tear into the Yukon, put all the suspension stuff on. But yeah, that's about it for the automotive stuff.
Yeah, I get this done. I got a lot of projects. Motorcycles to sell. If you're interested in motorcycles, hit me up. What else, man? There's a bunch of stuff. My motor sitting right here, just out of sight, but turbo's sitting there. I've got some lines and stuff that have come for that, so that's ready. The Dodge needs some work. I've got a horse trailer out here that needs some work done to it that I want to leave sooner than later. Yeah, things are going to take off now since the weather's broke.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
So
We are
I'm about to be busy.
Yeah, we're getting close. We're getting close to the May trip, man. For anyone that isn't aware, we're going to the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. We're gonna run up the High Rock Bay route, get to some pretty cool places out there. I'm a little nervous because they just got like a 4-foot snowstorm not too long ago. So it might be kind of interesting come mid-May, but we'll see. Adventure.
Adventure. In fact, we're just going that direction, and it's subject to change.
Yeah.
I'm not downloading the GPX file. I just want to know where we're meeting. After
Yeah,
that, I don't care.
In all honesty, like, I am fully expecting that this route will be the highest level of variance from any file that I've ever made, just because of all of the variables. I don't want to know, and I don't want to look into what's good, what's bad. I just want to go and see and explore and be in the middle of all that. And yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking
And
forward to it.
me too.
I'm hoping I can make it. I want to.
Yeah.
Just
Well, we want you there. So
yeah, I want to be there. I think it'll be really cool.
Yeah.
But
I need to get a drone. If there's any drone manufacturers out there,
help us
yeah,
out. I need one too.
good luck.
We'll give you reviews. We'll get you exposure.
Yeah,
You can have a podcast.
I'm sure no one knows who DJI is.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'd like to get a drone for the Michigan trip. You know, I made a major mistake when we went to Colorado. I was in this big, I'm going to live life not through the camera lens and live in the moment. And let me tell you something, literally every day I am so upset with myself that I didn't take more time to take pictures and video because I look at all my other trips and I really enjoy doing that. And the Nova Scotia trip, especially where we had the drone up and some of those shots where you could really get a view of everything, and that just helped kind of bring in and capture all those memories. It's cool, man, and it is worth it. So yeah, I gotta get a drone.
I really regret not taking pictures when I was younger, especially when I was doing like my late model NASCAR stuff in North Carolina. Like at that point though, it's like you're in the industry, so like it's not real cool to be going around taking pictures of stuff because like
Yeah,
what information are you stealing or whatever, people get upset.
yeah,
So there's not a lot, and that's why I've got a fender hanging up or a door hanging on the walls because I don't have pictures. Like my memory is a tore up door panel and stories I can tell. I don't have a picture to go with it. So yeah, I relate to that. I've
yeah.
been trying to do a better job recording pictures with
Yeah,
trips.
take more pictures for sure. You'll thank yourself. It's worth it. Even
Yeah.
you don't have to be a professional photographer like some people. You can.
Maybe.
But yeah, man. Well, hey, listen. Thanks for hanging out with us. I know we just started a lot of radio chatter there at the end, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully, you share some views about the clubs that we do. And until next time, keep the shiny side up, muddy side down. See ya.
See ya.